pressure that I have to follow all of these amazing speakers. No pressure. I ain't feeling it. I'm not feeling it. But I do have to take care of two things before I really get rolling. One, I have to say happy birthday to my 9-year-old niece, the apple of my eye, T2. I can't be there with her for her birthday because I'm kind of doing this TED Talk thing, which leads me to the second thing. I have a confession. Okay, so when we were first doing the TED Talks, and it was going to be live and in person, let me tell y'all something. Because I'm a speaker and I'm a storyteller, rarely do I ever stay on the stage. Like, you can find me in the audience sitting in somebody's lap some days. And so I was terrified on whether or not I was going to be able to stay on that red circle. Y'all know what I'm talking about, that red circle. And I was like, Lord, okay, so I'm willing to forget some of my talk, but don't let me forget to stay on that red circle. Because here's what I know. Ted takes that red circle seriously, and I'm not violating any boundaries. And then we have to go virtual, and I'm going, I don't get my red circle. Like, I want a red circle. And I almost got tempted to buy a red circle, but I took a shower for y'all. I put on perfume for y'all. And I decided that I was going to deliver my talk from my blue chair of royalty because it means something to me. And it reminds me that when you know you are the answer to somebody's prayer, when you know you have the solution to somebody's problem, you have a responsibility to make some noise. That has been my mantra for the last 5 years. You see, like I said, I teach people how to rock their keynotes. I do that all day. But as the Chief NoiseMaker of Media Mavericks Academy, I teach authors, experts, coaches, and entrepreneurs how to book themselves on outlets like ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, and many more without a publicist and without being a celebrity. And I'm good at what I do. I do not play it down. I am unapologetic about it. Why? Because before I was the Chief NoiseMaker, before I was known as the beast in the media streets, before I was the walking exclamation point, before I was the world's greatest hugger, I spent 25 years working in Hollywood. And I loved it. I worked on everything for Warner Brothers, for Disney, for Shrek, for DreamWorks, Cars, The Incredibles, Chronicles of Narnia, The Bachelor, Swamp People, My Cat from Hell. I won an Emmy off of OWN's Homemade Simple with Layla Ali. So yes, ma'am, yes, sir, I loved my Hollywood life. So on December 7th, when I ended up having a conversation that I never saw coming, I was a bit peeved. I was on my way to meet up with my girl, Unitha. Unitha is a bona fide prophet. I'm a Jesus freak. I make no apologies about that. I'm a Jesus girl, Jesus freak. And so I'm headed to meet with Unitha. And I was excited this day because I was going to tell her about the brand new TV show idea God had given to me. So I get to Unitha, and all of a sudden, she drops a bomb. And she goes, TeeJ, God wants you to know that it's time for you to wrap up your LA life. He's going to move you from LA to Atlanta. So essentially, he's going to take you from Hollywood to Black Hollywood. And then, y'all, she starts telling me stuff she saw in the vision about my TV show. So not only does she steal my thunder, not only does she disrupt my plan in my life, but she's telling me something that I didn't want to hear. But if I'm honest, and even though I didn't want to have any part of that plan, if I'm honest, I can't say that it came out of left field because earlier in 2019, my other friend Tish, who is also a prophet, Lord, I don't know why I'm constantly being surrounded by prophets, but okay. My other friend Tish had told me, TeeJ, God is going to take you from LA and move you to Atlanta. Now, I know, I know, Crystal, you aren't in denial about some things. And Calvin, you don't go into denial, but that ain't my story. I go into denial about stuff I don't really want to hear about and I don't want to plan on. So I went into denial and I just disregarded her. Yet, if nothing else, I'm obedient. And after lots of prayer, fasting, on March 1st of 2020, my mom, who had told me, I drove you into LA, I'm going to drive you out. My mom and I set out to make that cross-country trek for me to leave my old life in LA and start my new life in Atlanta. Now, by this time, I kind of got excited because my TV show was based on, what I was supposed to be doing. It was based on an idea that I had for historically Black colleges and universities, HBCUs, which, by the way, I went to the dopest HBCU, fight me, the one and only Howard University, Wakanda forever, rest in peace, Chad Boseman. And so I was getting excited about what I was going to create. So about 4 days later, we arrived in Atlanta, got myself moved in. My mom hung out with me because you know how mamas are. They ain't gonna leave a baby just in disarray. So she got me settled in, and I got to go see Martin Lawrence because he was having a comedy show. So that was cool. And then I said, okay, I'm gonna take a week off. I'm gonna chill, and then I'm gonna get in the lab and I'm gonna do my thing, and I'm gonna put all of my energy into creating this TV show. Well, the world stops and we go on lockdown. And I'm stuck in what in the entire hell is going on? Understand, I am an extrovert. Well, I'm kind of an introverted extrovert, but basically I need people. I'm the world's greatest hugger. Duh. I'm the walking exclamation point. I give energy to people. So this moving to a new city, not knowing anybody I can just go and hang out with. So I can't even go anywhere because outside is closed. I can't go anywhere to get to know people, to expand my circle. So I'm just stuck inside. And Paige, can I be really honest with you? Candace, will you not judge me if I tell you I was some kind of hot with God? Like I was like, yo, dude, number one, you created time. Number two, you omniscient. So you knew this pandemic was coming. Why did you let me move? Why did you let me move now? So I'm stuck inside without the familiarity of my people. Angela, he never answered me. He still hasn't. And then they started closing schools. Remember, it was like all the parents were in a panic, and I felt their pain. I felt it. And so I did what I do. I went to God. All right, Lord, what I got that you can use? How do I use how you created me to help these parents get past this? And so he told me, I want you to read to my kids. So I started story time with Auntie TeeJ. And I went live every day, weekday, Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And I read to the kids, who I call my crumb snatchers. Now, some days, some days there were more adult crumb snatchers than little crumb snatchers. But nobody, let me tell you something else. If you go and look at my YouTube channel and find that first video, nobody told me that you should never read Dr. Seuss out loud, his Fox and Socks out loud without practicing. Baby, if I didn't know any better, I would think Dr. Seuss was high when he wrote that, because Fox and Socks and Socks and it was hysterical. But I made it through it, and they kept coming back because I used what was in my hands. So going forward from there, even though I was connecting with people, about 30 minutes every day, still the loneliness was crushing me. And so I was thrilled when my cousin Soupy hosted a virtual bingo night for my family, because bingo in my family is some serious business. And so it wasn't for me just the bingo. It was the ability to connect because I'm lonely. And so about 20 minutes into our family bingo, it dawned on me, you know what? I have a pretty engaged social media following. And so they would love to have this. They would enjoy having this moment and being connected, because I know that they're lonely too. And so I decided I was going to stay up all night, and I was going to figure out an automated system that I was going to host a virtual bingo game for my people. And my girl, Andrea, I ran it by her. She co-signed my crazy. And so I stayed up all night and built that system. And what was supposed to be one night, 10 games, $100 turned into 6 weeks, and having given almost $10,000 away. And at that moment is when I became known as the bingo boss. And that's a good bingo became my signature phrase. But it started because I used what was in my hand. 4 weeks into the regular bingo, we're noticing that the graduations are being canceled. And if you've ever been to an HBCU graduation, you know those things are epic. And Howard especially, because it is the dopest HBCU. Fight me. It was epic. And so I became heartbroken of the fact that these kids had spent 4 years of their lives not to be able to put a button on it. So I did what I do. I went to my God and I was like, Lord, what is in my hand that I can use to help them? Now, here's the thing. I didn't really have a clue what I was praying for. I couldn't fathom anything that I could do that would help the situation. But I went and prayed. And so the only thing that I can translate on how he came back to me as an answer was, little girl, daughter. So you thought the bingo was to just address your loneliness. Bingo has always been the plan. I will use the simple thing to confound the wise. It's always been the plan. So I want you to launch an HBCU bingo. Say what now? So no, maybe you didn't understand. I ain't trying to be that big. I'm not trying to make this into a thing. And I wouldn't know the first thing about pulling something off like this. So I did what I thought that would shut the conversation down. I was like, okay, I'll make you a deal. If you show me how to raise $100,000 in cash and prizes to give away, I'll believe that you assigned this to me. He told me to call 3 people. I called the first 3 people. I was already at $60,000 in cash and prizes. And y'all, do you not know that in less than 4 weeks, my bingo squad and I raised and ultimately gave away over $1 million in cash and prizes. Oh my God. It still baffles me. I still walk around my house high-fiving God like, yo, you are so dope, God. And I'm just like, yo, I cannot believe this. I cannot believe this, because we did it without any official fundraising efforts. We did it without any solicitations. People just found out what we were going to do, and they asked, could we give? And that thing was so freaking incredible. We had Grammy winners. We had Emmy Award winners. I had celebrity pop-ins. We had surprises coming at them every which way. They didn't know which way we were were coming. The first Saturday, we played for 4 hours. The second Saturday, we played for 6 hours. The third Saturday, we played for 7 hours. And the finale night, we played for 9 hours straight. This ain't your grandmama's bingo. It was epic. Because I used what was in my hand. And I produced this thing like it was a TV show because that's what's in my hand. And catch this. Not one single person besides me on my bingo squad had ever produced or been involved with TV. All they did was use what was in their hand. They lent their genius to me. They partnered with my genius. And as a result of us using what's in our hand, we created an unforgettable experience for the neighborhood of HBCU grads that are now headed into the world to impact the world. Paige, are you seeing a theme here? Bernadette, are you seeing a theme here? Dr. Porter, are you catching the theme here? Oftentimes, we are so busy looking outside of ourselves for solutions that God actually put inside of us. So on this here day, on September 19th, 2020, I just stopped by into your computer, your tablet, your phone to let you know that what is inside you, Calvin, is somebody's answered prayer. What is inside you, Angela, is the solution to someone's problem. What is inside you, Juanita, is the answer to someone's prayer. You have to actually start using what's in your hand so you can get to that's a good bingo. So I want to leave you with this acronym for bingo. B, you must be willing to believe that you have everything in your hand to make a difference. I, you must be willing to implement, Tammy, without perfection. Because you going for perfection will start having you delaying and procrastinating and getting in your own head. And you ain't serving nobody. So you have to be willing to implement without perfection. N, you must be willing to nix the thoughts of doubt. Let me tell you something. It's coming. Anytime you want to serve people and help people and impact your neighborhood, the doubt is coming. Trust me, it came like, what in the heck am I thinking that I'm the bingo boss and I'm supposed to create? Like, it's coming. But I had to nix it in favor of the greater good. And then G, you must be willing to grant yourself permission to pivot as necessary. Because this whole time, everything that I've done, the storytelling, the bingo, the regular bingo, I sat in this chair because this is all I had. And so I had to grant myself permission that I don't have a fancy set to produce this. I got my royal blue chair. So I pivoted as necessary and I was flexible with the plan. And finally, O, you must be willing to open yourself up to new possibilities. Let me tell you something. Just yesterday, I received my very first check for someone paying me to host bingo. I never thought that it could be a revenue stream. I'm hosting bingo for the Jack and Jill organization. I had a meeting last week with the Grammy-winning artist to host a bingo for her fundraiser. I've been in talks with a TV network about streaming the bingo. So I had to open myself up to new possibilities. If you can't tell, I love glasses. Because of bingo, I now am the first brand ambassador for one of my favorite companies. because I've opened up my mind to new possibilities simply because I used what was in my hand. So, like our speaker Eloquisha said, she taught us, let me pull it back up because I took notes. I want to make sure I don't forget or get this wrong because we've had some powerful speakers. So Eloquisha came through and stopped by and taught us that when we direct our empathy towards our neighbor and we reach the highest form of knowledge, thereby we suspend our ego using what's in your hand. That's a good bingo. Like our speaker, Richie Thomas, taught us, when veterans pivot their mindset from asking business to help them to how do I help that business using what's in your hand. Remember, that's a good bingo. Like our speaker, Neha Nagandi, shared the story of Marina Staples, who was baking mini cakes for the staff of Grady Hospital. She used what was in her hand. That's a good bingo. And like Stephanie Paul taught us to remember to forget and be a living ancestor when we use what's in our hand. That's a good bingo. And like our speaker, Shauna Shue, told us how she used food instead of force to lure her pig out. And she taught us how we need to ask our neighbor what they want. The food, she used what was in her hand. That's a good bingo. So again, I just stopped by to ask you, Candace, Tammy, Paige, Crystal, Felicia, I'm just asking you, what's in your hand and how will you get to? That's a good bingo. Thank you.